Certainly about the way he died. It would be interesting to find out
Sure.
what happened there, because that was a weird situation, and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go a long way
Okay.
toward that one. The other stuff I would definitely do the January 6th, because,
Yeah.
oh,
Yes,
beyond
so
all of them.
important.
Because what happened, how about the Unselect Committee? They had meetings, they had all Democrats.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and make a big fuss about the 9/11 files. We'll save that for another day. The January 6th committee cover-up, nothing has really been done about that. Maybe it's time to start raising a fuss about that. The JFK files, I mean, they've released a lot. I think it's given us at least a clear enough picture to know that we were lied to, and Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy. So they've released enough to at least give the American people some clarity on that, but they haven't rewritten the textbooks yet, if they ever will. Now, I'd never heard that before, but that is the first time I believe Trump ever saying, oh, there's something phony in there. Now, you have to ask yourself why. So he's obviously seen the files. Obviously, he's seen the files. How does he know there's phony stuff in there unless he's seen them? And if he's seen them and he doesn't want to release them, then again, you have to ask why. But if there's phony stuff in there, who put it in? Again, Epstein was brought in during the first Trump administration. And if they started editing stuff after Biden's inauguration, then how would Trump know? Because he wasn't the president. How would he know that? Was he looking at the Epstein files when Biden was president? So none of it makes any sense. I'll be honest. It sounds like to me, and this is maybe why Elon Musk posted what he did about Trump and the Epstein files. It sounds like to me they've been anticipating somebody releasing something within the Epstein files to try and implicate Donald Trump. That's what it seems like to me. At this juncture, that's what it seems like to me. Now, I don't think Trump was running around with the minors. I don't think Trump was into the Epstein stuff. But I think maybe for Trump, even just being mentioned, even just having the Epstein sex slaves or, fake models, whatever it was, even them just mentioning that he was there might be enough for Trump to say, I don't want this to get out. Even if they were saying, oh, yeah, in fact, it was, I think it was Virginia Giuffre who talked about, they knew who the predators were when they were at Epstein's events. Like, they knew who the predators were, and they didn't view Trump that way. It's like, oh, they might see Trump, but, they weren't scared of him. He wasn't a predator to them like some of the others might have been. So maybe that's what it is, just him being even mentioned, even if it's positive, is too much. I don't know, but clearly they are trying to get ahead of something, folks. I mean, it's just undeniable. But if that's the case, then there had to be a better way to handle all of this, and they just couldn't do it. Even if Trump would have come out and said, look, we've seen the files, I've looked at the files, I'm in the files. I rode on Epstein's jet. I wasn't aware he was a pedophile. I wasn't aware he was a creep. We hung out around a lot of the same people in New York, billionaires, rich people hang out at the same stuff. They always had pretty women around there. I was doing beauty pageants. I didn't realize that they were recruiting these girls for whatever they were doing on that island. So I'm embarrassed. I wish I would have known. My name is on the list, but they're going to try to use it to attack me and destroy me if it comes out. But you want it, so we're just going to go ahead and give it to you. But see, it's just they can't even be honest about it, and so now it's just a complete disaster. And so they should have said nothing. They would have been better off saying nothing. Now, if you go back to the end of that clip, guys, I think maybe fast forward about 30 seconds in, And I'll ask the crew. I don't know if you guys noticed it. Did that sound edited to you? Did anybody catch that? See, when you work in audio and editing, these things are just like, you kind of just trick your mind and your body to like notice that stuff. Same with like video editing, all this stuff's like you can see a cut, you can see an edit. It's just like you just trained it. That sounded like an edit to me, which is ironic because Trump just won a lawsuit because of the 60 Minutes edit of Kamala Harris, but that looks like a Fox News edit of Donald Trump. Did you guys hear that? I want you to roll that one more time. Just fast forward probably about 30 seconds in. I think it'd be safe. I think it hits about 45 seconds. But it's right when he starts talking about the Epstein stuff. Guys, go ahead.
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least
Do you think that would restore trust?
Right there.
Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein
maybe
so
not.
much as I do
Maybe
the
I'm
others.
reaching.
Certainly
But
about the way
you know what? It sounded like a little, maybe a little edit there. Okay. So what is he talking about? Nobody knows now. Nobody trusts it now. The whole thing is a disaster now. We're not going to stop talking about it. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene represents most of the base and the middle America that whether or not you think this is Trump's fault or somebody else's fault, a line's been crossed and the damage is now permanent. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene, clip 7.
How big of a blowback is there right now in MAGA world specifically?
It's pretty big, I have to be honest. It's just a red line that it crosses for many people. Jeffrey Epstein is literally the most well-known convicted pedophile in modern-day history. This is something that's been talked about by many people serving in the administration, myself, and many others on the right and the left, of there needing to be transparency of the rich and powerful elites that were in his circle while he was just one of the worst serial abusers of young women. It has been a very serious situation for the administration, and many people are speaking out online. You've seen it. You saw it at Turning Point Student Action Summit this weekend. And a lot of people in MAGA, they really want to know more information about the people that were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And is there a blackmail list?
You know, it's ironic, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is just spot on, and she's really separated herself from the swamp in the last couple of weeks, as if she hadn't already. Which is strange to me. Why would Laura Loomer attack Marjorie Taylor Greene but leave Susie Wiles alone? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll get to that later. But you know what's funny is, again, this is why you just have to go with honesty. And I wish somebody just would have told Trump, honestly, Donald, they'll forgive you. They'll forgive you for being on the list. They will. I don't think anybody thinks Trump was into the creepy stuff. I don't think anybody thinks Trump was into the immoral stuff. It's not a secret. Trump likes beautiful women. Okay? There's no surprises here. We already went through the grab her by the pussy tape. We've already gone through the fake rape allegations and convictions and everything else. Like, we've been through this. Honestly, MAGA would have looked at the list, and if Trump's name was on it, would have said, Trump, we forgive you, or we don't think you did anything illegal or immoral. But instead, you try to treat us like idiots. Instead, you try to insult us, and now you're adding the insult to the injury that is your approval rating, your poll numbers, the midterms coming up. You would have been better off just doing the full release, keeping your name on there, and just saying, there it is, you wanted it. You would have been 10 times better off. And if somebody's in your ear saying, oh, the media is going to run with it now. Oh, the media. So what? What are you talking about? The media's been attacking you for 8 freaking years and it doesn't work. Nobody trusts them anymore. You should have just been honest. Oh, boy. And so here's Bill O'Reilly. This is just hilarious, folks. And this is why it's so embarrassing for the people that are committing to this. Look at Bill O'Reilly, who's become almost completely irrelevant, losing his Fox News gig. I don't know. Again, is this people just trying to get like a doggy bone from Trump? Like, oh, wag the tail. Maybe I'll get a doggy bone. So here's him trying to reason with this complete disaster. And the host just completely embarrasses him. By the way, this happens twice in this same interview. I didn't send both to the crew, but just understand, this happened twice. The interviewer gave him a chance to correct it. The interviewer came back and said, okay, hey, you sure you want to? And O'Reilly doubled down. So this actually happened twice. Here it is, clip 9.
How is he convicted? How do you convict a guy who's dead?
He was convicted in I believe, okay, under Merrick Garland's Justice Department. That could be. Am I wrong on that? I don't think so. And then he was incarcerated, and then he committed suicide. Okay. The suicide thing is bull. Whether you
Bill, I think this is important. Bill, I think this is important. He was arrested in 2019, and he committed suicide in 2019. He died August 10th of 2019. So the Biden administration was not involved in a conviction or a trial of him. They were of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay. And that's a good point of clarification. But he was arrested and indicted under Merrick Garland.
No, under Trump.
Who had all of the information.
Epstein was arrested, indicted, and committed suicide under Trump. In 2019, Trump was president. Merrick Garland was not the attorney general.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I don't get it from Bill O'Reilly. Like, are you just falling for the propaganda? Like, how do you not know? It's like Pam Bondi in her 2000 and I think it was whenever the Pam Bondi, I played it yesterday on the Alex Jones show, and she's on Fox News years ago before she was Trump's attorney general, and she says Ghislaine Maxwell multiple times in an interview. She's blaming the Epstein cover-up on Merrick Garland. So maybe that's what Bill O'Reilly saw. Pam Bondi blaming it on Merrick Garland, even though it was Bill Barr who was AG when Epstein was charged again and killed himself in prison. That was Barr. That was Trump's attorney general. It's like, denial is a hell of a drug, man. Oh, I get it. So Pam Bondi, it's Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. She doesn't even know her name. Bill O'Reilly, well, he was brought in and charged under Merrick Garland. It's his fault. No, he wasn't. What planet do these people live on? So it's like, what conclusion are you supposed to reach? Are they just that out of touch? Do they just not do the research? They just want to talk about it? Is it another like generational gap that they just can't fill in? They just can't touch it? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just this generational thing, and they just do not get it. They don't understand the cultural significance. They don't understand the political significance. It's Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, it was brought in under Merrick Garland. You don't even know what you're talking about. How can anybody take you seriously? So now it's, we're going to bring Ghislaine Maxwell in for testimony. Well, let's see if that happens. But I'll play that clip from Mike Johnson coming up in the short segment next, and then the Democrats with their political push to release the files. Again, we're in political bizarro world now. But you may recall the other day, and I was like, well, why would they even do this? It's another situation where it's like you're better off just shutting your mouth. Former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett says, I can assure you with 100% certainty that Epstein never worked for Mossad, no ties to Israel. So it's just like Epstein didn't kill himself. Nobody believes it. And I'm thinking, well, why would you even do this? So I'm thinking, okay, because I see all these accounts. And I see all of these paid propaganda accounts and the digital influence accounts, and they're all posting the same thing. See, Epstein never worked for Mossad. It's a conspiracy theory. No evidence. They just make claims. No evidence. And it's like, for the people that have been there and done the research, we know it's Ghislaine Maxwell, not Ghislaine. We know that Epstein was brought in again under the Trump administration, not the Biden administration. And we know of all the huge ties of Epstein to Mossad. Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, Israeli prime ministers going to Epstein's house. Like, give me a break. Oh, no evidence. So I'm thinking, well, wait, okay. So I was going to start posting the story, and these people that say there's no evidence where Epstein literally said, and I'm sure it was just a brag to these girls, because Epstein was probably a loser creep who just got brought in as like this underage sex slave pimp, probably being run by Maxwell. That whole power dynamic was probably Maxwell was running the thing. He was just the underage sex slave pimp that just ran all the blackmail operation and had all the facilities, so he could be the fall guy. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get the proof, and I'm going to show you Epstein used to brag about how he worked for Mossad. And he probably knew Maxwell was running the whole thing. And that's why she's maybe still alive in a prison right now. And I've gone long here. I'll show you on the other side. But I thought, why would they do this? Why would they come out and say, oh, Epstein never worked for Mossad, just to have the Streisand effect take over? And then I figured out what it was. And I'll have to show you that on the other side. But I thought to myself, why would they even do this? Why would the former Israeli prime minister come out and release that statement? And then I'm scouring the web yesterday, and it hit me. Folks, it's called, what we're going to call it a digital cover-up. And I went and tested this out, and I did a screen record video, and the crew can put that on the screen now. And you can go do a timed search on Google or any search engine you want. And before the former prime minister made that comment, if you would have searched something along the lines of Epstein Mossad or Epstein claimed to be Mossad, that's what I searched just to keep it more even more specific, so you can just see how the digital cover-up worked. Now, every single story is former Israeli prime minister says it's patently false. Epstein never worked for Mossad. So before he said that, if you did a Google search, Epstein Mossad, every story would have been Epstein Mossad. Epstein claimed to work for Mossad. Epstein worked for Mossad. Robert Maxwell, Epstein, Mossad. But now, because the Israeli prime minister said, nope, never was Mossad, now you search it, and that's all you get. That's called a digital cover-up, ladies and gentlemen. And you got to give it to the Israelis. I mean, they've mastered... They have to be the best in the world at propaganda and espionage. I don't even think it's close. They are the best. And they ran the digital cover-up on Epstein Mossad, and they did it perfectly. And now when you search Epstein Mossad, all you get is, nope, Epstein wasn't Mossad. When before he made that statement, all you got was, yep, Epstein was Mossad. Isn't that amazing? Or maybe this is more amazing. Maybe the real Mossad asset, Maxwell, is going to testify before Congress? Do you think this is even going to happen? Or is this just more damage control? Here's Mike Johnson with Benny Johnson saying, oh, yeah, he'd like to see Maxwell testify in front of Congress. Clip 11.
Speaker Johnson, this is sort of on the heels of something else that a lot of people are asking questions about. And because we've been lied to by our federal government for so long, I feel like there's some type of like there's a pain point, right? In the pressure cooker that gets heated up on issues like the Epstein issue, right? And obviously that's something that's taken over a lot of the online dialogue. But a question here about it that concerns either testifying or testimony for Ghislaine Maxwell, potentially before Congress, or if you would support members like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Anna Paulina Luna on the release of subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Marjorie or Anna about that specific subject, but I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know, when she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it, they were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved so that they can deal with violent crime and public safety and election integrity and going after Act Blue and the things that the president is most concerned about, as we are. So I'm anxious to get this behind.
Yeah, well, we all are, but unfortunately, they just made it 100 times worse. And the more they do damage control, and the more they try to cover their ass, and the more they lie to us and put out obvious political propaganda, the worse it's going to get. Now, what are the odds that Maxwell is actually going to get to testify in front of Congress? Does she really want to even do that, or does she realize that's a potential death sentence? So, I mean, I don't. Do we even trust her to be honest? I mean, I don't know. So, we're gonna plug this. We'll just skip that. You knew that happened, so I guess these people are at least clearing their name, if nothing else. I don't know. Now I'm saying, okay, well, Democrats that are wanting to get the list out there probably aren't on the list. I think it's a fair assumption to make. Okay, so let's just do this now, because you got to monitor the propaganda on both sides, and that's what it is. There's propaganda on the right and the left. And what I've seen from the big digital influence campaign accounts, a lot of them are anonymous, and they made big money during the campaign cycle, and I guess there's still leftover funds, or they're just getting paid by these other third-party groups to just continue to push political propaganda. And at first, they were trying to run cover on the Epstein thing and say, oh, just go with President Trump. I trust Trump. Let it go. Well, now they're pivoting, and they're saying, oh, well, Epstein was actually just laundering money. That's the new pivot. So when you see this stuff, that's 100% bought and paid for political propaganda. Oh, Epstein, he was just a money guy. And I'm not. The more I look at the new developments and stuff, I'm actually starting to think Epstein probably got recruited himself. Maybe he got caught up in some scandal, and he was always a pedophile, and then he gets brought into these groups, and he gets introduced to the Mossad agents and the CIA assets and everything else. And then he just kind of becomes like the dealer, and he's just like, well, yeah, you know, he's into the kids, whatever, he's into the young girls. So he's always going to have the access, but then he's also going to kind of be the dealer. It's like, hey, we got some rich and powerful people. They're into these types that you're into, so you're going to facilitate these needs for us, and we're going to set you up with some compounds and an island, and you're going to have it all rigged for cameras and everything, and we're going to blackmail these people, but you don't worry about that. You handle the money. Here, billions of dollars in his bank accounts. By the way, what about the bank accounts that were facilitating all of this? They should maybe be called to testify. So Epstein, probably the reason he was bragging about working for Mossad was because it was like a power trip for him. This guy's probably some low-life, creepy loser pedophile, but now he's got all these rich and famous and powerful people around him, and he's got these Mossad agents, and it's like, oh, he feels cool now. And really, he's just a low-life scumbag worm. I think Maxwell was the real Mossad agent. I think she was running the real blackmail operation. I think Epstein was basically just the fall guy and the money guy and a pedophile himself. But he was like the guy that was in on the crowds, and people knew, hey, if you're looking for something specific, that's your guy over there. And what do you need? He can hook you up. He manages the money. But Maxwell was the real ties to Mossad. But Epstein, this low-life loser, probably thought, oh, I'm cool, man. I'm working with Mossad. We all know types like that. They just brag about something, to some connection that they have. So, yeah, I'm sure he's running around with these women. He feels all cool. And he's like, yeah, you know, I work with Mossad. You know, I'm a spy, right? And so then they run their digital cover-up with the former prime minister saying, nope, didn't happen, and then they just rewrite the entire internet algorithm. But when you start seeing this pivot now, because this is what it is, since they failed on covering up the Epstein files, since they failed on getting you to move on, now they're pivoting and they're saying, oh, no. Epstein was just the money guy. That's what this is really all about, was laundering money. That's all it really was, just laundering money. As if that's, oh, okay, so now we should forget about it. So he still had no clients, though. So he was still laundering, hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever, but he had no clients still. So that's their new pivot, is he was just a money launderer, but still no clients. Oh. Yeah, that's not going to work either. But a good go at it. You gave it an effort. All right, let's move into the geopolitical news today. Now, a couple days ago, this came out of the Financial Times, and then it was confirmed by other deep state hacks like Mike Pompeo and Nikki Haley. Donald Trump asked Volodymyr Zelensky if Ukraine could hit Moscow, say people that were briefed on the phone call. And Trump is obviously frustrated with Putin. That's no secret. And now, I mean, this is what's so sad. The neocons, the warmongers have taken over MAGA. So it's not MAGA anymore. I don't know what you want to call it. Like, I guess they call it MEGA. Mike Pompeo, President Trump understands what's at stake in Ukraine and what it will take to show Putin his days of acting with impunity are over. Neocon warhawk Mike Pompeo. Neocon warhawk Nikki Haley. The only way the Russian-Ukrainian war comes to an end is when the United States puts its weight behind NATO and Ukraine. Of course, because NATO, Ukraine is not a member of. So she has to make that distinction. It's Putin's nightmare. Kudos for Trump for acknowledging who the real aggressor in this war is. The Ukrainians are good fighters. They will finish it if they have the ammunition to do so. Folks, there's a report that is really hush-hush right now. The TSA, who does firearms training, are out of ammo. So they've been doing dry fire drills for some time now, for the foreseeable future, I suppose, because they don't have any ammunition. Well, why do you think that is? Because we have hollowed out our military reserves. We have hollowed out our military capabilities, our ammunition. Now, look, TSA is a joke, so maybe they're just going to shut it down, and that's why they're not getting the ammo. I don't know, but my theory is that they're out of ammo because we've sent it all to Ukraine. That's my theory. See, nobody's really talking about that angle. And now we're supposed to back Israel's multiple front wars. We're supposed to back Ukraine with more force who's losing badly to Russia. And it's like, so I see the report from days ago, and I'll play some of these responses. And Trump pretty much denied it today. We'll play the Trump clips too. So I'm like, okay, would they be putting out this fake news just like they try to manipulate the situation with the Iranian nuclear sites? Would they be putting out this fake news to try to get Putin or get Ukraine or get Trump to escalate a war? We know deep state propaganda works like that. We know the military-industrial complex works like that. So could it be all propaganda? Or could Trump have been popping off on the phone and said, yeah, let's bomb Moscow? But clearly the warmongers, the warhawks, they want this war to continue. They want the death to continue. And you can't, there's no other way to slice this, folks. And Trump blames it on Biden, and that's fine. Biden got us into this war. They spent $300 billion, but Trump was supposed to stop it, and now they're going to be sending more aid. So we are directly involved in this war, and now, just like Obama ran on stopping the foreign wars, then he bombed like 13 different countries. Now, Trump said we're going to stop with the Ukraine war, and now he's going all into the Ukraine war too. So there's no other way to put it. That's just the facts. And when you have the neocons and the warmongers celebrating it like this, that is bad news. And Nikki Haley says, this is a win for peace. Oh, yeah, more people dying. You disgusting bitch. This is a win for democracy. Oh, really? When was the last time they had a vote in Ukraine? Could you tell me that? Tell me who is the real president of Ukraine? When was there an election? When did Zelensky's emergency powers expire? Nikki Haley, you sick, disgusting freak. So when Nikki Haley and Mike Pompeo are happy about extending the war with Russia, that's bad news. So Russia hears this, and Putin comes out and warns of a nuclear Armageddon. Now, what have I been theorizing here? I've been theorizing that the respect, or dare I say even fear, that Trump instills on the rest of the world and maybe even, dare say, our enemies, I think it's gone. And they're trying to play it the exact opposite because of the Iran strikes. Folks, I don't think so. I think it's the opposite now. Now, this all